Welcome back, travelers. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing the Lagoon Paron Tour. Before we get into it, though, I do want to recommend that you watch my previous videos on Lagoon 69 and the vlog video that I did of my trip with my brother around Peru. I'll link them up here for you to watch later. I also want you to know that Lagoon Paron, or Lake Paron in Spanish, is Laguna Paron, and I'm going to refer to it in Spanish for the remainder of this video. Laguna Paron is an absolutely amazing and mesmerizing glacial lake that's nestled in the heart of La Cordillera Blanca mountain range. The crystal clear turquoise waters of Laguna Paron, surrounded by the amazing snow-capped mountain peaks all around it, make it such an amazing, surreal, and awe-inspiring landscape to take in. If you watched my previous video on Lagoon 69, you know that a lot of these tours leave from the capital city of Huaraz in the department of Ancash. Well, Laguna Paron is one of the largest lakes in this region and definitely is a must-see if you go to Huaraz. I really feel like Laguna Paron rivals some of the landscapes that you can find in Canada, but I haven't traveled to Canada yet to those places, so I don't know for sure, but it is incredibly beautiful and definitely on that same level as the beautiful lakes that you can find in Canada as well. Before doing this day tour though, there are some things you need to know, and this is why I'm here today. Number one, the Laguna Paron Tour is something that I would recommend for you not to try to do on your first or second day in Huaraz, Peru, because you need time for your body to acclimate to the higher altitude, which I spoke a little bit more about in my Lagoon 69 video, but I also have another video coming out soon on my recommendations for when you're doing hikes or other touristy things in higher altitudes, so stay tuned for that. That said, you could probably get away with doing the Laguna Paron Tour on the second day of your time in Huaraz if you choose to not hike up the mountain to see the lagoon from the viewpoint. So if you're just going to stay at the bottom and just be at the lake and hang out, do the little boat rides or whatever else, then you probably can go visit it on your second day in Huaraz. But if you are planning on hiking up the mountain, I would do that probably on your third or fourth day, just so your body has enough time to get used to the altitude. Number two, if you have health conditions, health concerns, then please do not do the hike up to the viewpoint because you could potentially put yourself at risk, okay? The hike up to the mountain to see the lake from the very top isn't that long. It's about 30 or 40 minutes, okay, depending on how quickly you walk and get up there. However, it still is quite heavy on the body because there's less oxygen up there. You have to walk over certain rocks and things like that. And so it's just tricky terrain. And if you were to, for whatever reason, pass out or whatever at the top of that mountain, it's going to be really hard to get you down and you could really hurt yourself up there. So if you have health conditions, do not walk up there. Do not risk it. Stay at the bottom and just enjoy the lagoon from the bottom. If you truly want to see what the lagoon looks like from above, then get yourself a drone and do not put your health at risk. Number three, the terrain up the mountain is really tricky. So I would truly recommend proper hiking boots, even though I just had regular basic Nike sneakers, okay? But I would suggest that just so your feet have a better grip and you don't happen to slip on the tiny little rocks that are there in case you happen to like slip. And you need to understand that at a certain point, there is no more trail to walk. You just simply get confronted with a whole bunch of rocks of all sizes, and you just have to try to figure your way through them to get to the viewpoint. And that might be potentially dangerous for some people because you could potentially miscalculate a step and fall or get yourself hurt. So it's not something for everyone to do, especially people that are a little bit older potentially, depending on how in shape you are, or young children, okay? This is for people who are fit, who are healthy, who are fully abled enough to get themselves through that rocky terrain. Number four, I definitely encourage you to take a rain jacket or poncho of some kind in case it rains, because it did sprinkle a little bit while we were there, just for like a couple of minutes. So you never know how the weather's going to be. It's always unpredictable in the mountains. So just take that just in case to keep yourself dry. Definitely take a hat, glasses, sunblock, definitely those things. Those are just the standard at this point. Those are my major, most important recommendations. But other things I want to share with you about this tour is that it cost us, with the company that we went with, 60 soles per person. You might find it a little bit cheaper or a little bit more depending on the place that you sign up with. If you're going to do the tour in English exclusively with like a guide that properly speaks English, it's going to cost you way more and it's going to cost you in dollars. But we paid 60 soles. When you sign up for this tour, you're probably going to get picked up from your accommodation between 8 and 9 a.m. So this means that you most likely have to wake up around 6 or 7 a.m. to get up, get ready, get dressed, maybe have something to eat at your accommodation, and be ready to go for when the bus pulls up to your hotel or your hostel. Around 9 a.m. is when you leave Huaraz because everyone's been picked up and you head in the direction of the national park. And on the way there, you're going to probably stop at Carhuaz to just hang around for about 30 minutes before you continue the journey. The way up the mountain to the national park, to the Laguna Paron, is really bumpy. It's dirt roads. The car moves around a lot. Even if the driver isn't necessarily going at a fast speed, you're going to be moving around a lot. And so if you have a tendency to get car sick, then you need to be prepared for that. You need to take your bag. If you have pills for that or whatever, that's what you need to do, because you might get car sick, especially because of the altitude and depending on what you did the day before. So just be mindful that the car does move around a lot on the way up and on the way down. At the lagoon, there are some extra activities that you can do. You can go on these simple little boats, and I believe it costs just 10 soles per person to go on these simple little kind of rowboats that several people can go on, and it's 10 per person. If you want to go on a kayak, there are kayaks for just one person and it's 20 soles, or there are kayaks for two people, but it's still 20 soles per person. There are people who camp around the area, and there are some people, I believe, that like sell food in the area. I think someone was selling like fried fish or something like that, but I don't know about that life because I don't camp. I can't. I need a proper bathroom, so I can only maybe camp for one day, but I haven't done that. So just know that that is possible in that area if that interests you, and to do your research on that, because your girl don't know about that camping life. I'm looking at my footage from that trip, and it says that I took my first picture on top of the mountain of the lagoon at around 12:44 p.m. So that means that I probably started the hike up around 12 o'clock, more or less. And it was about 45 minutes maybe that I got to the top finally. And originally our guide told us we only had like 10 minutes to be up there, but my pictures say that I made my way down the mountain at 1:32 p.m. So I was up there for a while waiting for my brother to finally catch up. And then we took some pictures when he finally got to the top. And then we made our way down a short while later. So you have about 45 minutes to an hour to be up there, depending on how quickly you get up the mountain. Getting down the mountain to the lake takes about 15 minutes or so. And so I got down to the lake at around 1:48 p.m. And then I had about 40 minutes to just go around and kayak or do whatever else until it was time to leave. We left Lagoon Paron around 2:30 p.m. to go to a restaurant to then get something to eat for lunch. Lunch happens around 3:30 p.m. and we coordinated with our guide on the way to the lake our different orders so that by the time we came down from the lake to the restaurant, our food would be ready. Then after lunch, you're going to continue to head down south in the direction of Huaraz, but before that, you're going to stop in Caraz to try the manjar blanco, and that's going to be anywhere from like 4:40 p.m. to 5 o'clock, more or less, that you're going to arrive in Caraz. And that's just a really quick stop. You're only there for about like 15 minutes at the most. And then from there, you're going to continue your journey to Huaraz, and you're going to arrive at Huaraz around 6:30 to 7 p.m. I'm letting you know this because in case you need to figure out timetables, you need to plan your bus ride to a next destination or whatever, this is more or less the itinerary for this tour. And side note, my brother and I thought that we could buy our bus tickets back to Lima that same evening because buses were going to leave around 9:30 p.m. and they were the first set of buses that were leaving at like 50 soles from Huaraz to Lima. But when we got there, all the seats had been sold out for 50 soles and we needed to wait till like 10 o'clock or 10:30 or something to leave, and we needed to pay, I think it was like 70 or 80 soles instead of 50. So anyway, my friends, I really hope that this has helped you. If it has, please let me know in the comments below and give this video a thumbs up because it really does help my channel. Feel free to share this video with other people that you feel would benefit from this information, as that helps me to support people in planning their trips to Peru and having the best time ever with the least amount of hiccups possible, because we all know sometimes with traveling, things just happen. It's part of the adventure. If you want to stay in touch with me, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok as Evolving with Stef. You can find my social media links in the description of this video. And just a little update, I'm making plans to leave Peru. I don't know yet where I'm going, but I want to leave and I'm going to find a way to leave. Peru is great, but I just feel like I need to be somewhere else. But in the meantime, I do want to travel around Peru as much as possible, see a bunch of places, do a bunch of things to create this content for you guys to really help you before my time here is done. So send me positive vibes so I can keep creating this content and so that everything goes well for when I decide where I'm going to next. And until then, stay curious, keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.